Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 117 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
And we are in full holiday mode.
Yeah, we are. This is, I really think, my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Even more so than like Christmas itself. I like the run-up.
I like the run-up too, where things are still kind of calm, but we have our tree up and lit, and there's lights around the house, and we have the 4K fire on the television.
Super cozy.
You know, the battery-operated candles are burning bright.
Gotta love it.
I like this too. It's the calm before the kind of the Christmas storm.
Yeah, I just like the cozy season.
Yeah.
You know, it's just from Thanksgiving through till maybe mid-January. It just feels like cozy season.
Yeah.
And I like cozy season.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have all of our pagan tributes up. We have the tree.
We do.
We have the Yule log burning on the television.
Indeed.
What else do we have? That's we have the ivy hanging from the boughs of ivy hanging from the.
Well, I mean, you know, you got to remember that almost every Christmas representation, like a lot of the things that are very specifically connected to Christmas, are in fact pagan traditions.
Yeah. If you want to know more about that, look in our back catalog about we have a holiday traditions episode where we talk about all those things.
Yeah, we did that last year.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
That was a good time.
It was.
But anyway, moving on. Let's tell everybody where we're going to be next.
Sure thing. Well, this Saturday, we are going to be at the Hooray for the Holidays Market at the Vegan Center in Tonawanda, New York. That is Saturday, December 16th from 11 to 3. We are looking forward to it big time.
Hooray.
Indeed. Hooray. So super excited about that. And of course, for us, that is also a really great chance to stop in at the vegan grocery store before the market, probably get us some dinner at Good and Evil after the market.
Most likely.
So, you know, it's all good things.
Yeah, and if you can't make it out to the holiday market, don't forget you can follow Sam's Etsy site, and there's still time if you want to get gifts for people in your family.
There sure is.
Go to Cucumber Craftworks on Etsy and check out all of her beautiful vegan knitwear and jewelry and all that jazz.
And hey, I finally put up some new stuff.
We did. We've been talking about it.
Finally got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not done. It's not everything.
But there's more than 10 items up there now.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So we have these I've got some lovely scarf sets up there and some new jewelry items. I have a number of things that I'm hoping to get listed later this week as well. Some necklaces and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely better than it was.
Definitely. And this episode is brought to you by Cucumber Craftworks.
Okay.
We'd like to thank them for sponsoring this episode.
Oh, and how did we do that exactly?
I don't know. They didn't pay us anything.
I was going to say.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, you can still donate warm clothing and hoodies for the homeless, 716. You can drop off those donations if you're in the area. You can drop them off at Wellness in the Village at 13219 Broadway in Alden. State Farm Insurance at 209 Main Street, East Aurora, New York, and also at Yoga at the Locker, which is at 9992 Main Street in Clarence, New York.
If you're anything like us, chances are good that you'll probably get a new hoodie or sweatshirt or something warm under the tree for Christmas. So. Yeah, well, I mean, that just tends to be a given around here. And so knowing that that's likely to be true, it's a really good time to kind of, thin your hoodie collection to make room for the new.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, help some people who need it.
Yeah, please do. If you're in the area and you have any of those items, please drop them off at one of those locations. We have a recipe this week.
Hey.
We teased it last week.
We did.
So this week's recipe is a listener recipe.
Sure is. And a darn good one at that.
And this week's recipe is an amazing spinach artichoke dip given to us by Crystal Allen. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yay!
So we had this dip literally moments ago.
It was literally moments ago. Maybe an hour ago.
Yeah. So I made it this afternoon. It was a really fun recipe to make. And The only thing I will say is I think I left ours in the oven a little too long.
Well, I mean, you got that feeling because though the flavor of your version of the dip was fabulous. I'd
Yeah, it was
say
spot on.
every bit as good as Crystal's.
Yeah.
The texture was not as creamy.
Yeah, because
It's a little dry.
I was waiting for it to bubble, and it was probably bubbling, but because you put this topping on it, you make a almond parmesan
Right.
in a food processor, and you put that on top. You put this crumble on top, and I think it was bubbling underneath that crumble, and I didn't know it. So
Right.
I left it in. The recipe says 45 minutes, and I had it in for a little over an hour, which I think was a big mistake on my part because it lost some of the moisture.
So you think you essentially overcooked the cashew
Yeah,
cream.
I think the cashew cream cooked a little bit,
Yeah.
and so it wasn't. I'm sorry, Crystal. I won't do it again.
Well, despite the fact that it was a little bit drier than Crystal's version that we had last week at the Capello's, the flavor was still fantastic. So I don't think you have anything to apologize for. You know, just it's good to know that maybe bubbling was happening and you couldn't see it.
Lesson learned.
You know, I mean, weren't you saying that you thought you put maybe a little bit too much of the almond Parmesan topping on there?
Well, I put all that was in the recipe, but maybe, when I was putting it on, I'm like, this seems like a lot. And I should have trusted my instinct
Yeah.
and not put as much of
Yeah,
it.
that's generally a good thing.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say go with your gut.
But it was delicious.
It was.
And we had it, we had some leftover pizza. So we had leftover pizza and this amazing dip.
I actually put the dip on the pizza.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
Yeah. And Sam said, do you think Crystal would mind if I put her dip onto a pizza? And I'm like, I don't think so.
And so it made me realize that this would be a very, very good base for a pizza. Like
It
if you're
would.
doing a white pizza without
totally
a
would.
red sauce, oh my gosh, it would be absolutely fantastic.
It would.
Also, one of my favorite kind of like breakfasts / snacks tends to be an everything bagel with hummus and raw vegetables.
Yeah.
So usually cucumbers, tomatoes, radishes, sprouts, if we have them. And this would also be a great alternative to the hummus
I agree.
on that bagel. If you heat it up a little bit, get it, just a little bit warm and fuzzy. Well, no. You know what I mean? Not like warm and fuzzy. We don't want the
We know what you
dip
mean.
to be fuzzy, but just...
That's one for the blooper reel.
Well, no, I think
I'm
you should
leaving
just
it.
keep that in.
I'm
I was going
leaving
to
it
say,
in.
yeah,
I'm
just
leaving
leave
it
it because it's funny. But yeah, but to get it just kind of like warm and creamy and then put that on the bagel as the base instead of hummus
Oh, yeah, I agree. That would be delicious.
as a wintertime substitute,
yeah.
that'd be super good.
Yeah. Yeah. So this recipe makes a lot.
It's a huge recipe.
So we'll be having this for a few days now.
At least, like, I think we only made it through about a quarter
If that.
of it,
If
maybe.
that. Yeah.
And I feel like I ate a lot of dip.
We did. We ate a lot.
Okay.
I made pita chips. I cut up some pita bread and popped them in the oven with a little olive oil and a little garlic powder and a little salt. And then I also had some blue corn chips. I preferred the chips. I liked the crunchy to creamy combination. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you also like the salt that comes along with
Well,
packaged tortilla chips. That even though you salted the pita chips,
Yeah.
you're not going to get the same degree of salt that you are going to get in a commercially available bag
Yeah.
of tortilla chips.
Yeah. They are the organic blue corn chips, and they don't have a ton of salt on them. But
No, but they're still going to be saltier
Yeah.
than what you made with the pita chips.
Yeah,
I think that salt is also a thing.
yeah, I'm kind of a salt fiend.
A little bit.
Although I don't like over salt my food or anything like that.
No.
I'm not like that.
No, it's a salty snack thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not I want salt in all of my food. It's
Right.
a salty snack thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you again, Crystal, for allowing us to use your wonderful recipe. And I promise next time I make it, I will not leave it in the oven for an hour. I will stick to the 45 minutes that it says on the recipe.
Outstanding promise. Trust Crystal.
Well,
And trust the
it
recipe.
said 45 minutes or until bubbling, and that's where I went wrong.
You just should have done 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, it was delicious.
It was.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was fantastic. I love it.
Let's move on to our noteworthy section.
Okay.
What do we have this week that's noteworthy?
Well, we found out this week a bit of information on Wayne Sung's sentencing.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been following Wayne's journey since he was found guilty and imprisoned. He was sentenced to 90 days with time served, and there were some really interesting things placed on his probation. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
And in order to do that, we are going to go straight to Wayne's blog, The Primordial Bond. And this was published on December 5th, 2023. They took my family. For 2.5 million years, evolution has created a fundamental emotional need in our species: social connection. Human beings on our own are vulnerable and hairless apes without the strength to climb or swing, or the claws and teeth to scratch or bite. Our desire for connection and the complex cooperation that desire facilitates is what made us strong. One human is helpless, but 1,000 working to build tools and weapons is the apex predator of our planet. For 100,000 generations, those humans who yearned for connection thus survived evolution's test. Those who lacked that yearning died, like ants lost without a tribe. Social connection is the primordial human bond, more important than our desire for food, water, or shelter. And on November 30th, 2023, at my sentencing hearing in Sonoma County, that bond was broken. As punishment for conspiring with 500 peaceful activists to give aid to sick and starving animals at a Whole Foods supplier, Sunrise Farms, I was ordered to have no contact with about a dozen of the people I love most in life. The jail term itself, 90 days, was less than the maximum 42 months, though much more than the probation department's recommendation of 30 days. But Judge Laura Passaglia also ordered an associational constraint. These orders, which have faced criticism from constitutional law experts, are allowed in limited circumstances, when a defendant is a part of a violent gang. In my case, the associational constraint targets a group that rescues suffering animals. And it extends not just to those accused of being part of the Sunrise conspiracy, Priya and Almira and Julianne, but to other dear friends like Matt Johnson, who were not. If I come within 100 yards of any of them, or even attempt any form of contact, I will be immediately jailed. This is not about crime, but rather about stopping activism. In the immortal words of former prosecutor Troy Schaefer, who was recently promoted to judge, the authorities seek to cut the head off the snake, to stop the movement by removing its leaders. But Sonoma authorities have made a serious mistake. Contrary to the government's delusions, amplified by ill-informed critics who call DXE a cult, I have not been in leadership at DXE since I stepped down in 2019. I am as surprised by the latest DXE action as the readers of this blog. More importantly, no single leader makes a grassroots movement. Leadership lies in each of our hearts. Indeed, heavy-handed efforts to target leaders can strengthen a movement by inspiring more people to step up. But what will not hurt the movement will still hurt me. And my heart sank when I heard that my closest friends are being taken away. Almira Tanner, the one I entrusted with the reins at DXE when I stepped away. There's not a week that goes by when we do not share, sometimes tearfully, the struggles of leadership in a movement where so many lives are at stake. John Frohnmeyer, who is not just my legal counsel, but perhaps my most trusted personal friend. It's unclear how I can defend myself in court or navigate the hurricanes ahead without the attorney who has defended me for many years. And then there's Priya. In 2012, when I moved to the Bay Area to find treatment for my mother's cancer, Priya came into my life. As Mom withered away and died, Priya held my hand as I cried and whispered, "It'll be okay." In 2017, my first dog, Natalie, lost the ability to walk. She cried pitifully when she needed me, But it was Priya who answered her cries, bringing her food and water, or walking her with a sling. I realized then that Priya was not just my best friend. She was a parent to my child. And in the last years, when I lost Lisa and Joan, my teachers, and the loves of my life, it was Priya who took us to the vet when I couldn't bear to go alone, and who organized the funerals where we honored their remains. Now, with the stroke of a pen, Priya and so many others are gone. And when I heard the judge's words, I said to myself, this is worse than prison. This is the breaking of the primordial bond. For the coming years, Priya and others will be erased. The primordial bond has been broken. But I will never forget you. And while there will be new friends I will love dearly, none will ever quite take your place in my heart. And in honoring that love, we will all be saved.
So Wayne's blog post has a lot more of his thoughts that we just decided was probably a little bit too long to read, but I would urge you to go out to thesimpleheart.org and read his blog posts, because he has a lot of really good points that he's making in these blog posts.
And he's a fantastic writer.
Yeah, and he's a really good writer. Yeah, I just want to kind of touch on the fact that he can't have any association with a gentleman who is currently his attorney.
That to me is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. I don't see how that can be legal.
Yeah, well, I think they used these laws in the past. Well, of course, they've been used in violent crimes, like gang-related crimes and things like that. But I think they were also used in the past, like in the 70s, like the Black Panthers,
sure,
and other groups like that. They would use that law so that they couldn't associate with each other.
Oh no! Essentially, it is kind of the breaking up of the activist circle. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
it's just kind of mystifying to me that it's permissible.
Right, especially in a case like this where there was no violent crime committed.
Right,
and their only crime was caring for animals that were suffering and dying.
Right.
Yeah, it's really interesting and a testament to how far our legal system can go to stop people from doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's less about stopping people from doing the right thing and protecting the economic interests of the status quo.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I urge you to go out to simpleheart.org and read Wayne's blog posts.
It is beautiful.
All of them, like while he was in prison and now that he's been released. Interestingly, though, I did hear that after his release, which was just yesterday, that he went to an activism thing.
Of course he did.
Yeah, I mean,
that should not be surprising.
The constraints placed on his probation and the conditions placed on his probation didn't seem to address.
It didn't restrict his going to events or rallies or anything like that.
Right. He can still go to animal activist rallies and stuff like that, apparently, which I find interesting. It's like, stop him from talking to the people closest to him, but don't stop him from being involved in other parts of the movement, which is really interesting to me.
Right. It is a strange juxtaposition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But good news that he's out.
Yes, very good news.
Yeah.
Thrilled to hear that. And of course, Wayne, we're in your corner. Keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, keep doing what you do.
Doing the good work.
And that brings us to our main topic. This week's main topic is our holiday favorites. This time of year, we try to keep a lot of the show kind of on the lighter side.
Yeah, just because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's the holidays. There's enough bad going on in the world right now that
always
we like to take a little bit of a break from, the vegan activism stuff and just offer up some good, wholesome fun. So we're just going to share some of our holiday favorites. We haven't written these down.
Nope.
Or thought about them in any, real way.
No.
I just have a list of things that we're going to talk about, what our favorites are about them. Mm-hmm. And I want you at home to do the same thing. And if you feel compelled, and I really hope you do, share your list
with us
of what your favorites are in the following things.
That would be super cool.
So first on our list is favorite scene from a Christmas movie.
Favorite scene? That's a tough one. Because in just about every Christmas movie, there's like one scene that gets you.
Right.
So the first one that pops to mind for me is in the revised Miracle on 34th Street with, Richard Attenborough and Elizabeth Perkins and Mara Wilson. Mm-hmm. My favorite scene is after Susan, the little girl, gives the homemade Christmas card to the judge, and the judge realizes what she's trying to tell him, what the lawyer is trying to tell him, that if the United States can offer its faith in God and put it on currency, then the state of New York can declare its faith in Santa Claus. And after that, the court officer or bailiff or someone just pushes open the windows to the courthouse and yells, "Case dismissed! Santa Claus wins!" And everybody in blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks throughout New York City, just completely packed, just start cheering and screaming and hugging each other and
throwing their hats in the air.
And, cars are stopping on the bridges and people are getting out of their cars and hugging each other. I love that.
It is a good scene.
I love that. I just think that's so great.
Yeah.
So from that whole thing, from the Christmas card's existence all the way up to case dismissed, Santa Claus wins.
That's a good one.
Might be one of my, I think it's pretty close.
That's
I can't say it's my ultimate favorite because that would take some serious thought.
Yeah.
But it's up there.
I think mine, at least right now and today, because these things change.
They do.
Is probably the final scene in It's a Wonderful Life.
This does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I knew that you were going to head in that direction.
Where the friends and the family are coming in and they're bringing money in so that George Bailey can pay off of all his debts. And
right. Which aren't really his debts to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just, then his brother shows up and he's still in uniform from the war. And it's just such a heartwarming scene. And then, of course, it ends with little Zuzu saying, "Daddy, teacher says an angel gets his wings." Right. Every time a bell rings.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Yeah. And then, Auld Lang Syne starts playing and tears
Oh, yeah.
on my face.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I know it's polarizing. A lot of people just don't like that movie at all. A lot of people think it's a very depressing movie. I don't find it depressing.
I don't find it depressing. I mean, as far as Christmas movies go, however, I don't feel like it's a Christmas movie. I feel like it's a movie that happens to be set at Christmas.
Oh, I guess.
You know what I mean? Because when you think of a Christmas movie, you think of, okay, sure, there's going to be some challenge for the protagonist and all of that. There's going to be something that goes wrong. There's going to be, something that is just completely out of whack, but it's going to be resolved. And at the end is usually going to be kind of, here we go, warm and fuzzy. And
just like that, just like the dip.
Just like the dip. It's going to be warm and fuzzy, that kind of a thing. And I feel like with It's a Wonderful Life, the warm and fuzzy doesn't come soon enough. I think it takes so long to get there.
Well, there's all kinds of warm and fuzzy in the beginning.
Sure.
When George is a young boy, right up till the thing happens with the pharmacist's son dies and he hits him and all that jazz.
Right.
But I love the beginning where he's talking about becoming an explorer and that he's part of the National Geographic Society.
Yeah, super cute.
Yeah, really cute. And then all the excitement with him wanting to travel. And I mean, I know it can be kind of a downer because he doesn't get to do all the things he dreamed of doing, but I just love that movie.
And then he starts to have kind of a crisis of faith, and then the whole thing with the money happens. His uncle loses the money, and when really, Potter has it all along, and but he starts
love
to
that
lose
movie.
his faith in humanity.
And Jimmy Stewart is brilliant,
Of course.
in that movie. And here's a little bit of trivia in case you didn't know. Jimmy Stewart was a fighter pilot during the war and suffered from terrible PTSD. And he didn't want to act anymore. He was telling his agents, look, I just need time off. I need time away. And somebody convinced him to do the film. And a lot of the scenes where you see him like losing it, like when the kids are like playing Christmas carols and all that, and he loses it. A lot of that, it's real, you know, It's just like raw emotion that's on the surface with him. And he was just so brilliant in that movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's why it works. It's real.
Yeah. Okay, we need to move on. Okay, number 2 is, what is your favorite outdoor winter activity?
Oh, no brainer. That's sledding. Give me a hill and one of those blow up tubes. Seriously, I'm there. Although the last time we went sledding, it was in my parents' backyard.
Yeah, they have a big hill.
Because they have a nice hill. And I wound up sledding directly into some hedges, at the bottom of the hill.
The neighbor's hedgerow.
Yeah, I did. So that was less than fabulous, but generally speaking, favorite outdoor winter activity is totally sledding, whether that's tubes or toboggans or just those silly little plastic roll-up sleds. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Give me a hill and some snow.
give me a hill and some snow.
Although, according to a movie we recently watched, no one over the age of 40 should go sledding.
Those are good words to live by, because when you injure yourself after the age of 40,
I'm aware
that you have that till the day you die.
I'm aware.
I know you know better than anybody else that things that happen to your body after you're 40, you will always have.
Yep.
So it's probably good advice not to be sledding after the age of 40. And
I could be talked into it, though.
Yeah, you probably could, because you're a bit of a daredevil. And I would be on the sideline going, "Oh, careful."
You would.
Careful.
You would.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Right.
Do you have a helmet? Please wear a helmet. No, I'm serious.
I do not have a sledding helmet.
Anyway, I think my favorite outdoor activity, although I haven't been able to do it in a long, long time, is actually just building a snowman. Mm-hmm. And every winter I say at one point, hey, you want to build a snowman? It's usually terrible out and -2.
She just never asks on the right days. Seriously, the days that the snow would be, and honestly, I was about to say the days that the snow would be perfect, it's way too cold. And that's not true, because once the snow gets too cold, it's not good packing snow anymore.
Yeah, it won't stick together.
It won't stick together. So, it has to be the right combination of temperature and, not being crazy windy and not you just have to have the perfect conditions for snowman making.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a goal.
Okay.
That sometime this winter, if we get the right kind of snow, that we make a snowman.
I'm up for it.
Cool.
If we can find the right kind of day where it's, the right amount of cold outside and not -2.
Right. Right.
Because, if we're talking about 30 degrees, do you want to build a snowman and there's 2 feet of snow outside? I'm there.
Yeah, that's perfect, right?
That would be perfect.
Put
30
on
degrees
snow
and
pants.
2 feet of snow. Let's do it.
Yeah, put on your snow pants and let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, number 3 on our list is, what is your favorite childhood memory at the holidays?
This would have to be hanging out in my brother's bedroom on Christmas Eve after we'd been sent to sleep. I don't know. There was just something. We would take a sheet and make a fort out of the bottom bunk of his bunk beds. And we would just sit up all night, talking and listening to what's going on in the house and all of that kind of stuff. It was just the best. And obviously, there are a finite number of years where Owen and I did that. When we were old enough to appreciate each other's company, but young enough where there was still kind of that tingly, magical mystery kind of thing going on, So there were probably maybe 4 or 5 years that we did that.
Yeah.
But that's just one of my strongest memories of Christmas, and in particular, the one where my dad fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that on another
I think
episode.
we did. Yeah. But, Owen and I were in the fort.
Right.
And we just heard boom, 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 boom. And then a word that I won't utter on the podcast.
An expletive.
Yeah, an expletive that I will not utter on the podcast. And, we go storming down the hall, and all you hear is my mother going, "Get back in that bedroom." Yeah. So, but that for me is pretty special.
Yeah.
Just that hangout time for me and Owen.
Yeah, it's funny because I think one of my favorite memories of childhood Christmas also is with my sibling, my sister, when we were young enough that we were still sharing a room, and she was old enough to try and make it more magical for me. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So she'd be like, "Wait, I think I hear sleigh bells. Shh, I think I hear it." And like, she would like do all these things to assure me that Santa was coming, and she would just make it was just so special, and the excitement, like you couldn't get to sleep. And I just really enjoyed that time when we were young enough to still be sharing a room. And like you said, with your brother, you were the right age, you were still young enough to have that magical feeling.
Yeah. That's super cool
on Christmas Eve, but old enough to appreciate what was happening. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be completely honest, I still have that kind of buzzy, magical thing
on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
I still
too.
do. I absolutely still do.
Yeah, me
without
too.
question.
You got to hold on to that.
True believers and all.
Yep.
Yep.
Number 4 on our list is, what is your favorite holiday meal?
No brainer. It's the holiday meal that became tradition for me because of your family.
The raviolis.
Ravs.
The homemade ravioli.
The homemade ravs with now, of course, vegan meatballs and vegan sausage and salad and a good bread. Like, I'm sorry. I love that. There's nothing better. I mean, all props to Trey, who makes a fabulous vegan lasagna for us for Christmas now. I mean, amazing. Truly amazing.
Yeah.
But I miss the ravs.
Yeah,
I love them
I kind of miss them
so
too.
much.
I kind of miss them too. My sister never really loved them all that much. My mother never really loved them. That tradition came from my great grandmother on my father's side,
Right.
And then they just kind of adopted it, and even my mother's family also adopted it. So my grandmother on my mom's side started making them too, and I do kind of miss them. But the lasagna is also a family tradition in our family.
Yep.
My Aunt Pat, she took over when my grandmother passed. She took over the Christmas Eve, the big family get together at Christmas Eve. And her and my Uncle Chuck would have everybody over at their house. And she would make these huge, amazing lasagnas. And that's what inspired Trey to make his lasagnas, which are fantastic.
Well, I experienced that once.
Yeah, you were there once.
The first Christmas we were together.
Yep.
I got to experience that.
Yeah, that's
It was
good.
really cool. But yeah, my favorite holiday meal is without a doubt the homemade raviolis that we used to do with your family.
Yeah, not to be a copycat or anything, but so's mine.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just
And
wonderful.
just all the memories that
Yeah.
surround that particular meal,
Right. Yeah. And I think that your family has a much stronger connection to like food.
I mean, Italians,
Well, right.
everything's about the food.
I think because certain dishes are specifically attached to certain holidays, they just take on a different meaning.
Right.
And I don't feel like my family has that strong a connection to any specific dishes on specific days. Like Thanksgiving aside.
Right.
I don't feel like we have a real, this is what we do.
Right.
Food-wise.
It's just like, we'll make some kind of food.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as consistent.
Next on our list is, what is your favorite game to play with family and friends?
Okay. Given my family, this is a hard one. Because, it's all about the games.
Yeah.
Thanks to Owen, it's all about the games. And there are so many that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a nod to a few of them. One is Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Great game. I love that it's cooperative. You know, I think it's fantastic. Of course, thanks to Lucy, Werewolf.
Yeah, Werewolf is a game where somebody in the circle is the werewolf. You have to figure out who it is.
Right. And so it's basically an exercise in deceit.
Yeah.
Which Lucy loves.
Yeah.
And it just ends up being really funny. Like the stupid things that people say to kind of put the others off the scent.
Right.
You know, so we all become liars and opportunists.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
But it's really fun. And then also, I can't leave out Guillotine.
Oh, Guillotine, yeah. It's a card game,
It's
right?
a card game, and it's based obviously in the French Revolution and all of the executions that took place during the Reign of Terror.
Hey, nothing says the holidays like
Robespierre.
I was going to say nothing says the holidays like executions,
right?
Like French executions,
right? But no, it's all about the Robespierre for me,
right?
Just because, you know, the first time Owen played it and a card came down and it was Robespierre, and he's like, "Who's Robespierre?" And I'm like, "You've never heard of Robespierre?"
Yeah,
I'm a little bit of a history buff.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Robespierre either, so you know.
They've made fun of me now for years for being arrogant enough. That I would assume that everybody would know who Robespierre was.
You don't know who Robespierre is?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Now, I'm sure that the tone of voice I used was not quite that obnoxious.
No,
They're just
we're
inflating
exaggerating.
it. Yes, exactly. So now, but then not long after we had played the game, Owen watched the animated film, The Adventures of Peabody and Sherman.
Right.
And they're traveling through time, and one of the first people they meet is Robespierre.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, "You're kidding me with this." Seriously, with Robespierre. So Robespierre has become a running joke in the house. And so because of that, more than anything else, I mean, the game is fun.
Yeah.
But just because of the running joke, Guillotine is way up there.
Yeah. I like, what's that game? It's not Apples to Apples, but it's similar to Apples.
Cards Against Humanity?
No, not Cards Against
Although
Humanity.
we've had some very funny moments with Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, you got to have a special relationship with your family to play that game and not be completely embarrassed every time a card comes up.
It's so much fun.
But I can't remember the name of the game. It's not Taboo, but it's kind of like in that vein. But anyway, I like games like that, Apples to Apples, where there's like a statement and then you have to either finish the statement and then the...
are you thinking of like Balderdash?
Yeah, Balderdash.
That is a good game.
You have to figure
I
out...
love Balderdash.
You have to figure out which is the lie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah, those are fun.
And Cards Against Humanity is that same
It is the
concept.
same idea. Yeah, except you're not trying to figure out the lie. You're trying to decide like which answer is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, we've had a couple of rounds of Cards Against Humanity where everyone just ends up laughing so hard that, like, I mean, I'm not going to give the example because it's
we'd have
not
to put,
appropriate.
We'd have to put an explicit
we would.
warning
It's not
on
appropriate,
the podcast.
but just one that had my dad like giggling.
He was like
days.
rolling on the floor
for
blabbering.
days.
Yeah.
It was really, really funny. It was great.
It was hysterical. Where are we on the list? Oh, hey, number 6 is what was your favorite toy you ever received as a child?
It's funny because I remember books more than toys. I mean, I know I got toys as a kid, certainly.
I thought for sure you'd say one of your Cabbage Patches or something.
Well, I thought about that. And yes, I do recall the Cabbage Patch year, you know, being a good one. And like, I was really psyched about the Cabbage Patch Kids. There's no question about that. But I honestly think the best toy I ever got was from my grandparents. And there was one year, I don't know how old Owen and I were. I can't remember. But Nana and Grandpa came for Thanksgiving. And we went out shopping one day and we went to Toys R Us. And Nana told us we could each pick out one thing that she and Grandpa would buy us for Christmas.
Okay.
And I remember that my thing that year was the Lego medieval castle set. And I just thought that was the greatest thing.
Yeah, I think I got that for my nephew when he was young.
Like, I loved this thing. I've always been into, anything medieval into like early Northern Renaissance.
Right.
And
like knights.
yeah.
And
Oh
stuff
gosh.
like that.
Yes. Bring
Yeah.
it. Love those stories. And so when this particular Lego set came out, I was just all about it. And I wanted it so much. And I couldn't believe that Nana and Grandpa were going to get it for me.
And that was back before Legos were like so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
They're so expensive
Oh,
now.
yeah. Like, I'm sure the set was probably expensive for the day, but it's nothing what it would be now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even close.
They're really expensive now. I think one of my favorite toys when I was a kid that I got for Christmas was, believe it or not, it was G.I. Joe. And it was this is the late 60s. So G.I. Joe at the time, I think, was made by Kenner. And Kenner was adamantly against the Vietnam War. And so for a short period of time, G.I. Joe was no longer associated with the military. He was a rescue ranger. So I got G.I. Joe, the rescue ranger. He had a beard, and he came with this really cool rescue van that had like, you know how like when they rescue somebody on a mountain, they put him in that basket, and it had like a crank. So
and it had all that stuff?
It had all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
It was the coolest thing. And I have seen them like on eBay. They go for a ton of money now, people that collect those toys. But I just love that thing. And even more so, I loved that I asked for that as a little girl, and my parents didn't think twice about getting it for me.
That is pretty amazing.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I loved my G.I. Joe.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, so occasionally G.I. Joe would end up with my sister's Barbies, and I'd be like, hey, no. No. G.I. Joe does not associate with the Barbie clan, okay? He's got important things to do.
So your favorite gift was not the bowl that you wore on your head?
That was not a gift. That was just something I pulled out of my mom's Tupperware cupboard.
It doesn't matter. It's still brilliant.
That's a story for another time. I think we told that story.
I'm sure we must have, but I still love it. It never gets old. Yes, Christine used to wear a bowl with a spout on her head.
I wanted a ball cap, and it worked. So kids are weird. Kids are weird. Okay, number 7 on our list is, what is your favorite holiday dessert?
Okay, this is funny because I don't think of Christmas as being a dessert holiday.
What?
I really don't. I think of Christmas as being a snack holiday.
Well, there's that.
So like,
but the category is desserts.
Yes, I know. And so I'm getting there. Patience, please. So I would say that my favorite holiday dessert are Christmas cookies. You know, just kind of the cookies or the chocolates or whatever that are kind of sitting around.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like we usually have like a Christmas dessert.
I see what you're saying.
You know, we don't make a Christmas cake. We don't necessarily have a pie.
Right.
Like you would do at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We have various kinds of sweets.
Yeah.
Hanging out all over the place.
Yeah, and I think that that's solely an American thing. Like the Europeans, they have all kinds of specific Christmas desserts, you know, puddings and things like that. And I think I agree with you that my favorite holiday dessert is probably just a nice little plate of Christmas cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a little plate of cookies and a cup of tea or hot chocolate.
Yeah.
And oh, I'm there.
Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. Yeah. I don't need a cake or a pie or anything at Christmas. It's not necessary.
Cookies.
Cookies are good.
Number 8 on our list is, what is your favorite holiday beverage?
I think you're going to be better at this one than me.
It's your favorite. How would I be better at your favorite?
It's just I'm not thinking of, okay, I'm going to go back a few years to get to my favorite holiday beverage.
Let's go back.
Let's go back, because this is not something that we have readily available. And I really don't drink anymore. Like, I'm such a lightweight.
You mean alcohol?
Yes, I mean alcohol.
Okay. This doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink.
I know it doesn't, but I feel like there's some kind of implication that like holiday beverages are a little bit special. They're not what you have every day. So it's not going to be like water or iced tea.
If you would have said water, I would have been really disappointed.
You would have, and you would also have known that I was lying.
Yeah.
So,
our favorite Christmas water.
Yeah, no. And so I'm going to go back a few years to my favorite, the one thing that I think I can kind of classify as a holiday beverage.
Okay.
And that is rhubarb gin and ginger ale.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
And the reason that it's a holiday beverage for me is that I discovered it when I was in Wales, right at the end of my stay in Wales. It was literally like Paul and my last day together. We were out sightseeing and we went to this little pub, and on their specialty drink menu, they had this rhubarb gin and ginger ale. And I'd never tried anything like that before. It was just divine. So light, so refreshing, absolutely amazing. And of course, you can't get that rhubarb gin in the States.
No, we've looked for it, and that especially that particular brand you can't get in the States.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get the brand of ginger ale they used, but you can't get the brand of gin.
Yeah, Fever Tree.
Fever Tree is just the best ginger ale. But
it is.
It really is. So anyway, we have in past years ordered a couple of bottles of the rhubarb gin.
Yeah, I gave it to you for Christmas one year.
And the first year I actually, as soon as I got home, I ordered a couple of bottles.
That's right.
And then the following year, you got me a couple of bottles for Christmas.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think that's the closest thing I can come to for like a holiday beverage is rhubarb gin and ginger ale.
Okay. I think mine is Irish cream.
Oh, well, yeah.
Bailey's Irish cream. And if you're vegan, they do make an almond version of it.
Yes, they do.
And it is just as delicious.
It is.
But I just like that over ice. It just tastes like Christmas to me.
In coffee.
Oh, it's good in coffee too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what we tend to do Christmas morning.
Yep.
Is first thing we make coffee because Christine does not function without coffee.
Even though I drink decaf.
It doesn't matter.
No,
the coffee is
psychological.
It sure is.
Yeah.
So we have to do that in Christmas morning. And I don't usually drink coffee.
No.
But on Christmas morning I do, with a little bit of Irish cream.
Yep.
And it is just delightful.
It is really delightful. We also do on Christmas morning, sometimes we do poinsettias.
Yes. So we get usually Prosecco because
Prosecco.
We like the slightly sweeter taste of Prosecco compared to the incredibly dry Asti Spumante or champagne.
Yeah.
And we cut that with a little bit of cranberry juice.
Yeah. It's pretty and bubbly and festive looking.
It is. Yep. Very nice.
Okay. Number 9.
Number 9 is favorite gift you ever got for someone else.
Favorite gift you ever got for someone else.
Wow, there's a lot. I love gift giving. Can I tell you, I think this is why I enjoy Christmas so much.
Yeah.
I just love giving gifts to people. And in particular, you're so much fun.
You're pretty fun to buy
gift shop for. Like, you're so much fun. You know, but also, of course, Lucy. I love getting presents for Lucy.
Oh, yeah.
She's a blast to shop for. And yeah, you two are my 2 favorite people to shop for, you and Lucy. But oh gosh, there are so many. I think, though, my favorite gift I ever got for you was the trip to London that I had you unwrap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got you the little passport holder.
Yeah, that was great.
And kind of like all of the information and like when we were going.
That's right.
And all that stuff. I just kind of packaged that up as a present. I think the trip to London might be me at my best.
It's kind of hard to outdo that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And that was
pretty good.
2019?
No, London was 2018. So it would have been Christmas of 2017 because we went in 2018.
Yeah, that was great. What's mine? I gave you, and this is really just silly, but one year I wrapped up in a little box, a little sleigh bell.
That was awesome.
With a note from Santa that said, better fix that hole in your pocket. I found this on my seat. Yep. And that's from...
It's a throwback to the Polar Express.
Yeah, the Polar Express.
Which is one of our mutually favorite Christmas movies. Yeah. No, that was pretty awesome.
So it was silly, but I thought it was a cute idea.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's the awesome thing about gifts is that sometimes the small, silly ones are like just the best ones.
Yeah, when you come up with something
cute or unusual or really, really meaningful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree. And I love that. And yes, it's hanging on our Christmas tree right now.
I didn't see it.
Of course it is. Yeah. No, that's one of those special ornaments. It's literally a homemade ornament.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that must be on the Christmas tree every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I had longer to think about this, I'm sure I could come up with other things. But that's the first one that came to my brain.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Love it.
What's next on our list?
Favorite Christmas song? I have a lot of favorite Christmas songs.
One.
No. One. I am going to narrow it down. And I'm going to narrow it down to A Winter's Carol by Tori Amos.
Tori Amos, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, I just love it. It's so beautiful and spirally, like you can almost see snow falling. You know, it's absolutely wonderful. And it has this absolutely glorious midsection where like all of the like tempo kind of drops out and it becomes this slow kind of very almost eerie kind of march. And it gives me chills every single time. So I just love it. So I think that is my favorite Christmas song.
Well, that's a lot like mine, which is Dominic the Donkey.
We don't go for the classics around here.
By Lou Monte. Perhaps we should have had two different categories, like favorite, I don't know, serious Christmas song and favorite kind of just fun Christmas song. Anyway, mine is Dominic the Donkey. If you've never heard it, look it up. It's a good time.
I only know Dominic the Donkey because of Christine, and I am very grateful that I do. Because it's super fun.
It really is super fun. And we haven't heard it yet this year.
We haven't. On the more traditional side, like my favorite Christmas songs tend to be, I love God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I love We Three Kings. I love O Holy Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Tori's got him beat.
The Tori Amos Christmas album is really good.
Called Midwinter Graces. It's spectacular.
Where are we on the list?
Favorite holiday tradition, yours or someone else's?
Oh. Favorite holiday tradition. I want to say my favorite holiday tradition is we each open one gift on Christmas Eve. And traditionally, that gift is pajamas.
New jammies.
Yeah.
Christmas jammies.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that's my favorite holiday
That's actually, between the two of us, and I was actually going to use that under favorite new tradition.
Oh.
Because that's something that's just particularly ours. In terms of like long-standing traditions, I think my favorite holiday tradition is putting up the tree. I just love the tree.
Yeah, the tree is great.
The tree is great. It's not Christmas without the tree.
It really isn't. I've had years where I didn't have a tree and it was kind of sad.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? We can do without the rest of the lights. We can do without presents.
Yeah.
We can, do without a lot of Christmas music, but I cannot do without the tree.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right.
It's not doable.
Yeah.
No.
One
Gotta
year,
be a tree.
years and years ago, when I was living by myself, I actually had a couple of years where I just didn't bother putting up a tree. But one year, my sister's like, "You're not putting up a tree? You have to put up a tree." And it was like 2 days before Christmas. And she's like, I think there was a grocery store not far from her house. She's like, I think they still have trees left. We're going there now and getting you a tree. So we go and they had like two kind of bare
Charlie Brown Christmas trees.
Dried out little trees. And we got one and shoved it in the back of my car and I brought it home and decorated it. And most trees, I mean, once you decorate them, they look great. I did have another year where I wasn't going to have a tree and a friend of mine thought it was sad that I wasn't going to put up a tree. And he was a landscaper and had just removed a shrub.
Gave you a shrub.
From somebody's house. It was like an evergreen shrub. And he had it tied to the roof of his car and showed up at my house and said, "Here, put this up." I'm like, that's a shrub. He's like, "Once you put the lights on it, no one will even know it's a shrub."
It's true.
And once you put the lights and the ornaments on it, it looked great.
Yeah.
It was a fat little thing. It was funny.
Yeah. The only two Christmases I've ever had that just did not feel like Christmas were Christmases that my family was traveling together. We did a Christmas in Arizona once, and then we did a Christmas in Tahoe once, and in both of those cases we didn't have a Christmas tree, and for me it just did not feel right.
Yeah, it feels wrong, right?
Yeah. It was okay that we weren't at home. I do prefer Christmases at home.
Christmas at home. I don't like the travel at Christmas
I
thing.
love to travel.
Yeah.
Like, put me on a plane anywhere, I'm happy, but
like I was
not
even a
at
little
Christmas.
sad when we went to London
Over
this past
Thanksgiving.
trip, that it was Thanksgiving and I missed Thanksgiving with our family. And
Yeah.
It just seemed a little wrong.
Yeah, but Christmas like amplifies that.
Yeah.
Like I think it's doable at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it. I would never say, "Hey, let's go somewhere at Christmas." That's
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Just no. but there's got to be a tree. So I think that's my favorite holiday tradition is the tree.
Number 12 on the list is favorite on-screen Santa Claus.
Oh, no brainer. Richard Attenborough in Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, he's a really good one.
So good.
But I'm torn between that and like the claymation Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, well,
I
yeah,
love that dude. He's so funny because he's kind of grumpy, you know, and he doesn't want to eat. You know, there's a scene where he doesn't feel like eating.
Right. And the young version of him looks like my dad.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's from a different claymation.
I know it's a different claymation, but it's the same Santa Claus.
It's
just
the
younger.
same Santa Claus. Yeah. I just love that little claymation dude. He's so funny because he gets kind of grumpy and the elves start to annoy him when they're like singing their little elf song. He's like, okay, enough.
Right.
And Mrs. Claus is like, eat, Santa, eat. You have to fit into the suit. I don't know. I liked him. But yeah, the one in The Miracle on 34th Street, he's a really good Santa Claus.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, favorite animated holiday movie?
There is only one answer to this question. Lucy will hate me for this, but it is Arthur Christmas.
Arthur Christmas is really good.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is the best. Like, seriously, you're going to go edit, and I might just have to watch Arthur Christmas.
Hey, why not?
I love it so much.
Not? We usually watch it a number of times throughout,
oh, yes.
it's
my favorite wrapping movie.
Yeah.
So on the day that I throw Christine out of the house so I can do my wrapping, I will definitely watch Arthur Christmas while that's going on because I imagine myself as Bryony the wrapping elf.
Yeah.
I am Bryony the wrapping elf.
Yeah.
There's always time for a bow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. And I also, like, we were talking about Polar Express.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Now, when Polar Express first came out, I wasn't a huge fan because it was a type of animation that didn't exist before.
Yeah, and a lot of people found it really creepy.
It was a little creepy, but I got used to it. It's not as creepy to me as... It was too realistic, you know? Like, the characters were too realistic.
It almost passed... It, like, passed that cartoon line kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love Polar Express.
It is beautiful, and we haven't watched it yet.
We did. We watched it.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, maybe you fell asleep or something.
Well, I must have, because I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I've seen it, but not this year.
Maybe you were reading or doing something else at the same time.
I don't even remember it being on the television. Like, I have no memory of that at all.
Okay, we got to get through this list.
Okay.
What is your favorite new tradition?
That's the Christmas Eve jammy exchange.
For me, I think it's the Secret Santa that we do with my family now.
Oh, I love that
because
too.
it takes all that time. Number one, buying gifts for everybody and then taking all that time opening gifts with everybody. I like that time is shortened.
Oh, yeah.
The opening gifts time.
Sure.
And we have more time to just spend together.
Talk and play games.
Yeah. So I really enjoy that new tradition.
Ooh, another new tradition. That ball.
Last year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I
last
love
year.
That. I need to make one of those for Owen and Lucy Christmas.
I don't even... Oh, I think it was our niece Savannah's mother.
Yes.
Where you take a ball and you...
Well, you take saran wrap.
Saran wrap and you wrap all kinds of gifts
into the saran wrap.
Pass it around and you have to wear oven mitts. And each person, you pass the ball and you tear a little bit of it away and keep passing it around. And whatever falls out,
you get to keep.
You keep. That was really fun.
That was so much fun.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
forgot
not about
that.
the stuff. I mean, the stuff that was inside the ball, it was like candy. There were some gift cards. There were some lottery tickets.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of cash. There was, just little small things. Like I think there might have been a small flashlight here and there. Just really silly little things. But it was so much fun.
It was
to try
fun
to pull it
passing
apart.
that thing.
Yeah, and like, what happened? Like that you had to pass it when.
I don't remember.
Oh, it was a roll of a dice.
Oh, okay.
The roll, it had something to do with the roll of a dice.
Yeah.
Someone would keep rolling the die until a certain number came up.
Yeah.
And once that number came up, you had to pass it to the next person no matter what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.
I forgot about that completely.
I love it so much. I want to make a version of that for Owen and Lucy.
Yeah.
I think Lucy would enjoy that.
That would be really fun. Let's do that.
Well, we're going to go out tomorrow.
It'll only be 4 of us, so...
It doesn't matter.
It'll be quicker.
It will be quicker, but also, we're going out tomorrow to do out in the world stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
It's the perfect day to pick up
some little things.
Some stuff to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
love it.
Yeah, we'll look into that. And last but not least on our list is, what is your favorite thing about snow?
My favorite thing about snow are bona fide snow days. Like when it snows enough that you're not going anywhere.
Those are kind of fun, aren't they?
I love them. And we had those last Christmas Eve and Christmas. There was no way anyone was going anywhere.
We got snowed in.
We did. And I'm not saying that I enjoyed that storm. That storm was deadly.
Yeah, it was horrific.
It was absolutely horrific. But, we were among the fortunate ones who were at home and safe and able to, avoid the cold and the snow and all of that. And so we just kind of watched as the snow piled up for 2 days. And I like that when that kind of snow happens, like as long as everybody is safe and warm, it kind of gives you permission to slow down in a completely different way.
It's true.
It's like you can't go anywhere. So just be where you are in this moment. Don't worry about where you should be or what you should be doing. Nope, Mama Nature has said, I don't think so.
You're not going anywhere.
That's
and
right.
luckily, we had a lot of provisions because we had shopped for Christmas.
We had already done
hosting.
our Christmas shopping, yep.
Yeah, we were hosting Sam's family for Christmas, so we had all kinds of food and stuff in the house.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite thing about snow is how it gets really quiet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
When you after a big snow and you go outside, it's so quiet that the snow absorbs any kind of ambient sound. I just love that.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So those are just a few of our favorites, our winter favorites, holiday favorites, whatever you want to call them.
That's some fun stuff.
Yeah. And let us know
Good conversation.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let us know what yours were, because I'm really interested in what everybody else's favorites were.
And that brings us to this week's helpful suggestion on how to become vegan. And this week's suggestion comes from one of my favorite vegan YouTubers, Pick Up Limes.
Yep.
This week's reason is share the message with compassion. As much as we wish otherwise, there's a lot of judgment and criticism in the world of plant-based nutrition. For example, we might hear or read, if you eat fish, then you should really call yourself a vegetarian. Or if you eat honey, then you aren't a vegan. According to strict guidelines, this may be true, but if we do our best, especially when we're early in our journey, that's all that matters. Transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle is a rewarding process, and a majority of the time is a clear win compared to doing nothing at all. For those already following a plant-based lifestyle, we challenge you to offer compassion to all individuals, plant-based or not. Be open and honest in answering questions. Lead by example and avoid pressuring others or making them feel inadequate. Those that are inspired will eventually follow.
Yeah, that's good advice. And while we are strict vegans, we are in it for the animals.
We are.
Not everybody gets there as quickly as we did.
No, of course not.
And it's important to encourage and be compassionate to people who are trying.
Right. And I want to make sure that, with Christine saying we are strict vegans, yes, that means that we personally do not consume animal products of any kind.
Yeah.
But we've mentioned more than once that we have 4 feline companion animals.
Right.
And they still eat animal-based foods.
They do.
Because we have not yet had a serious conversation with our veterinarian about the value, because cats are natural carnivores.
They're obligate carnivores. And I've had conversations with other people in the veterinary world who say they're obligate carnivores. You're giving them a home. It doesn't violate your veganism to care for these animals.
Right.
In the way that they need to be cared for.
Yeah. And so, because remember, the manifesto of the Vegan Society is to, as far as is practicable and possible.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not about perfection. It's not about eliminating everything.
Yeah.
The world is not going to end if you mistakenly have a muffin that had egg in it.
Right.
That's not what it's about. That's okay. Try to avoid, but it's okay if you slip up. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
When we were early on in our veganism, we took a trip to Ireland and we agreed, because it was hard to find vegan food at restaurants in general, that we would allow ourselves to relax to vegetarian if we were eating out. If we were cooking for ourselves, we were still vegan, very much so.
And we did a lot of cooking for ourselves.
And we did a lot of cooking for ourselves.
Yeah.
But at some restaurants, do you really want to avoid a beautiful potato soup in Ireland because it probably has cream in it?
Yeah.
And when there is no vegan option on the menu, because if there was a vegan version, obviously, go in that direction. But if there's not, you can just kind of say, oh, wow, we're in Ireland and it's hard to avoid butter and cream and cheese because that's one of the big things that they do.
Yeah. It's probably better now. There's probably more options now.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
Than there were back then.
Sure.
So we probably would not relax to vegetarian, I think, if we
I
went again.
I don't think we would ever do it again.
Yeah.
But at that point, we were only about 6 months in.
Yeah.
And so it was okay. I don't think we would do that now.
Yeah.
But again, talking about folks who are early on in their journey, make those choices. It's okay.
Yeah. And so I guess the point we're trying to make is just have compassion, not only for other people, but for yourself if you're early in your journey of veganism. And that takes us to one of our favorite portions of the show.
Must be listener shout out time.
You know it. It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's listener shout out goes to Tina Louise. Tina Louise is the co-owner of Buzzin' Books 716, an avid reader and a vegan. Thanks for listening, Tina.
Yeah, thanks for listening, Tina, and contact us with your t-shirt size and address so that we can send you a Compassion and Cucumbers swag bag. Email that information to us at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or private message us on Facebook. Little bit of trivia. I was telling Sam not too long ago. Do you know why we call swag bags swag bags?
That the word swag is an acronym for stuff we all get.
That's right. Stuff we all get.
Woohoo. See, I listen.
So yeah, if you want to get some stuff, want a listener shout out, send us a DM or an email and let us know that you listen and tell us a little bit about yourself, because my listener shout out list is dwindling.
Don't let the list dwindle, folks.
Save the list.
Save the list.
Save the list. Yeah, send us an email and let us know you listen so we can shout you out.
Absolutely. This brings us to this week's Vegan Org of the Week. And this week we are celebrating the Hunt Saboteurs Association. The Hunt Saboteurs Association is a United Kingdom organization that uses hunt sabotage as a means of direct action to stop fox hunting. It was founded in 1963 with its first sabotage event occurring at the South Devon Foxhounds on December 26th, 1963. You can find out more about them at huntsabs.org.uk.
Yeah, that's a great organization, and I love that they've been at it so long.
I do too. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, while reading that, all I kept hearing in my head was the Beastie Boys, Sabotage.
Well, if I could, I would put that like as background to your reading of the vegan.
All I could hear in my head was the Beasties. Go figure.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, definitely check out Hunt Saboteurs on their website. There's a lot of really interesting information there. And it's time to wrap this baby up. We are over an hour. Once again, you have listened to us for over an hour of your life, and we appreciate you giving us that time.
We sure do.
Yeah. So let's wrap this baby up. As always, we encourage you to join the AFA Vegan Voter Hub. Support the Agriculture Fairness Alliance in any way that you can, because they're lobbying in D.C. on our behalf so that our vegan voices are heard. And if you want to be included in the conversation, join the Vegan Voter Hub. We always put the link in the show notes.
And with that, let's sign off. You have just listened to episode 117 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion. on the podcast.
Oh, we're singing it again tonight.
I guess. I don't know. I was moved to sing. What can I say?
Thank you so much, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We're going to talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our vegan kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.